Which was the last one I did yesterday? 9th question. So question 10, look at it everyone now. Note for that we have already written regarding the preference dividend. If mentioned in articles of association, then they will be paid before equity shareholders. If nothing is mentioned, then they will be paid after equity shareholders. So all of you look at question number 10, page number 75. Yes, Peter. A Limited has gone into liquidation as on 31/3/15, on which date its position is as follows. 2006% cumulative preference shares of 100 each fully paid up. Underline areas of dividend for 1 year. So this point will come across. Okay. 1 year's dividend will be how much? 2000 into 100. What is the value of preference share capital? 2 lakhs into 6%. 12,000. So 12,000 of dividend is there, okay? Now type 1,000 equity shares of 100 each and line fully paid up, and type 1,000 equity shares of 100 each and line 60 paid up. So because there are two different paid up value shares, that formula we will apply at the end. How do we find loss per share? What is the formula? Paid up capital plus deficiency minus surplus upon number of shares. In paid up capital, we'll take 1,000 into 100, 1 lakh, and 1,000 into 60, 60,000. This is the paid up capital. Calls in arrears. So calls in arrears will have to be called, that will come on the receipt side, in asset realized. Okay, calls in arrears will be included in receipt side in assets realized. Calls in advance. We discuss calls in advance, we do return before the respective share capital. We assume it is from equity shareholders. So we'll return it before equity share capital. Cash available after making payment to creditors and before making any call is 2,32,000. Directly cash available is given 2,32,000. In that we'll have to add calls in arrears because before making any call. You are required to prepare liquidator's final statement of accounts. Underline, assume that articles of the company provide for payment of preference dividend arrears before equity share capital. So we will follow this. First will be preference share capital, then will be preference dividend, then will be the turn of equity shareholders. Is everyone clear with this as the language is given? Any confusions? So make the format, so it's small format only because directly cash available is given to you. A Limited, liquidators final statement of account pursuant to section 497 to 509. Should I start with it? So see, directly cash available is given to us 2,32,000. So because part of the statement is only to be made, on the receipt side will not have assets realized, we directly have cash available of 2,32,000. Okay, what else will come on receipt side? Calls in arrears 8,000. So total cash available will become 2,40,000. Now payment side. First priority, that all is not there because directly the cash is available after making payment to creditors. Means up till unsecured creditors everyone is paid. So directly uska preference share capital. And then as we discussed, preference share capital, then will be a preference dividend, then will be the turn of equity shareholders. How much is preference share capital? 2 lakhs. Do we have money? 240. So first, return to contributors. Directly we are at the stage of return to contributories because the cash available is directly after making payment to creditors. First, preference shareholders will pay them preference share capital, that is rupees 100 per share on 2,000 preference shares. That amounts to 2 lakhs. Okay. How much is still left out? 40,000. How much is preference dividend we discussed? 12,000. Sufficient or insufficient? Sufficient. So preference dividend 2,000 into 100 into 6%, 12,000. Here will minus preference dividend 12,000. How much still left out? 28,000. Surplus or deficiency? Surplus. Okay. Now we will apply that formula because there is surplus. The formula will be loss per share is equal to paid up capital minus surplus upon number of shares. Okay, paid up capital minus surplus upon number of shares. Now what is paid up capital? 1,000 into 100 for the first one plus 1000 into 60 for the second one minus surplus of 28,000 upon 1000 plus 1000 number of shares. Any doubts with this? So 1000 into 100, 1 lakh plus 60,000, 160 minus 28, 1 lakh, 32,000 upon 2000, 66. Okay, loss per share is 66. Any doubts with this? Now we have to compare this with what? Paid up value to find call or refund. First share, what is the paid up value? 100, but the loss is 66. So we have to call or refund. They have already paid 100 rupees, loss is 66. So we have to refund them 32 rupees. Second category of shares, what is the paid up value? They have paid 60, but the loss they have to pay is 66. So we'll have to call or refund. We have to call 6 rupees from them. Okay, so type 1, there will be refund of, they have paid 100 minus loss is 66, so 32 into 34 into 1000 shares. So 34,000 we have to refund them, and type 2 shares we need to call the money. Loss is 66 minus they have paid 60, so 6 rupees we have to call on 1000 shares, that is 6,000. Okay, so both the shares will be at par, will be at justice. Both will finally bear the loss of 66 rupees. First category have paid 100 will refund them 34, so they will bear the loss of 66. Second category of shares have paid 60, further they will pay 6, so they will also bear the loss of 66. What will be done first? First we have to call, then we have to refund. Is everyone clear with this? Where will the call come? Receipt side. Call from contributories. Rupees, how much? 66 minus 6? Rupees 6 per share on 1000 equity shares. So we'll call 6,000. Now we already have 28,000 plus we will call 6,000. So we will have 34,000 that we can refund now. So in return to contributories, equity shareholders, rupees 34 per share on 1000 equity shares will refund 34,000. And both the sides total must match. So 232, 40, 46 and 246, both the sides same. So did everyone understand this? Okay, any confusions in this question? Now we are all of you. See, we had 2 or more type of equity shares so far. 2 questions we have done, 10 as well as 9 or 8 along with that, okay? But both the shares face value was same. Yes. Let's see 9th question. Both the shares face value was 10, and then one was fully paid up, one was I think 6 paid up, 5 paid up. Even in question number 10, both the shares face value is same 100, but one is fully paid up and one is 60 paid up. Now we take up with the situation when the face values are also different. When we have 2 or more shares with different face values. Earlier it was different paid up values, now different face values. Automatically face value is different means paid up value is going to be different only. Okay? But face value itself is different, then we cannot find loss per share. Because how can we find loss per share 66? One share is 100, one share is 10. And loss per share cannot be calculated in actual rupees. We have to find percentage loss per share. Instead of loss per share, we have to find percentage loss per share. And that will multiply with respective face value. What is it become 66%? Then those shares which are of 100 face value, their loss will be 100, 66%, 66 rupees. Those shares which are of 10 face value, their loss will be 10 into 66%, 6.6. So instead of loss per share, we have to find percentage loss per share. Did you understand this question, everyone? How do you find that paid up capital plus deficiency or minus surplus? Now you don't divide by number of shares. Now you divide by total nominal value of shares. Total nominal value of shares means, suppose 1000 shares of 100 each, 1000 shares of 10 each. So 1000 into 100, their share capital's value, nominal value is 1 lakh. Another 1000 into 10, their share capital's value is 10,000. So you multiply it, you divide it by the nominal value of shares instead of number of shares and multiply it with 100 to get it in terms of percentage. Okay, so if there are 1000 shares of 100 each, 1000 shares of 20 each, Then 1000 into 100, 1 lakh, 1000 into 20, 1,20,000 is the nominal value. Then after that percentage you multiply with the respective face value, you get actual loss per share. Then same procedure. Actual loss you compare with paid up value and find out whether you have to call or defer. Did you understand this portion, everyone? So when the face values are different, instead of loss per share you will find percentage. In percentage loss, instead of number of shares you divide by nominal value of shares and multiply with. Didn't that? Now, let us below that. Note, multiply percentage loss per share. Multiply percentage loss per share with respective face values to get actual loss per share. Okay? After that, the procedure is same. Next paragraph, compare loss per share with paid up value to find call or refund. Okay? Now look at question number 11. We read it. AB Limited went into voluntary liquidation on 31/3/15. Its financial position on that date was as follows. First, look at the adjustments. Preference dividend was in arrears for the last 2 years. Liability side, what is preference share capital? So what will be 2 years dividend? 1 lakh into 6% into 2 years, 12,000. And articles of the company provides for its preference prior to any payment to equity share. So same way as we did here. Yes. First we'll pay preference share capital, then we'll pay preference dividend, then we'll pay equity shareholders. Assets including freehold property realized 4,20,000. Where will we record this? Receipt side. And including freehold property, where? Below that, debentures are secured on freehold property and the trustee of debenture holders realized for rupees 1,20,000. This 1,20,000 is already included in that 4,20,000. How much are debentures on the liability side? 1 lakh. Are they having floating charge or fixed charge? Debentures. Fixed charge because it's given debentures are secured on freehold property. If nothing is given, they are having floating charge. Here they are having fixed charge. They are secured on freehold property. So from that 1,20,000 we would pay 1 lakh to debenture holders. And how much will be the surplus remaining? 20,000. Any doubts with this? So debentures are secured on freehold property and trustee of debenture holders realized for rupees 1,20,000. So freehold property, if you exclude it from 4,20,000, how much is the remaining amount realized by the liquidator? 3 lakhs. And here we'll take only surplus of 20,000. So we'll take 3,20,000. Raise your hand who did not understand this. All okay with this? Further. Liquidation expenses 1,500. Liquidator is entitled to the remuneration of 2% on assets and land realized by him. So will you count remuneration on 4,20,000, 3 lakhs or 3,20,000? 3,20,000. We discussed earlier that in case of assets which are mortgaged or hypothecated, we need to take the surplus from secured creditors. So what is realized by the liquidator is 3 lakhs plus 20,000 of this surplus. So we will consider 3,20,000. And 2% of amount distributed to unsecured. When we take amount to unsecured creditors, we must also take, if you take 2% to unsecured creditors, you must also take 2% of preferential creditors. If you take 2% of unsecured creditors, you must also take 2% of preferential creditors. Now creditors include liabilities side. What are creditors? Does the liability side total come to 9 lakh? Check that. That 165 is negative. You minus it. It's coming to 9 lakh. Huh? Okay, then it should be like, can you see outstanding debenture interest 5? It should be 5,000. And that 90,000 figure is of creditors. Can you see 90,000? On the right side, write down creditors. Provident fund you can see is 10,000. Outstanding debenture interest is 5,000. And that 90,000 is the amount of creditors. Okay? Now, creditors include, so that 90,000 includes rates payable to state government 10,000. Where would they include rates payable to state government? Preferential creditors. So, you can mark it as list C, as we have been doing up till now, right? Income tax 8,000 for the year 12 to 13, for which the notice of income tax department is received on October 13. Now, make it for the year 13 to 14, for which instead of 12 to 13, make it 13 to 14. For which the notice of income tax department is received on October 14. Did you make the correction? So this will also come in preferential credit as income tax, market as list C. Compensation payable to workmen under industrial reserve will also come in preferential creditors, market as C. So 10 and 8, 18 and 15. How much are preferential creditors? 10 and 8, 18,000 and 15,000, 33,000. How much are preferential creditors? 33,000. Now 90,000 creditors you divide in two parts. List C preferential are 33,000 and list E unsecured are remaining of 57,000. Any doubts with this? Out of 90,000 preferential are 33,000, this 10,000, 8,000 and 15,000 and remaining 57,000 are unsecured creditors. Any doubts? Prepare liquidators final statement of accounts as on 31st March 2015. Now liabilities side, 40,000 equity shares of 10 each. So that is to be paid at the end. 30,000 equity shares of 10 each, that is also to be paid at the end. Then 20,000 equity shares of 5 each. Now see, 2 shares are with face value of 10 and this third one is with the face value of 5. So at the end we'll have to find percentage loss per share instead of loss per share. 3 paid up. And then preference shares, P&L debentures, 1 lakh will come in secured creditors, we don't have to pay them, we directly take surplus of 20,000. Provident fund where will we include? List C preferential creditors, market as C. Where will you include outstanding debenture interest? You'll include it with secured creditors only. Means you have to pay 1 lakh plus 5,000. 1 lakh 5,000. Did you understand this? And 1 lakh 5,000 would be paid from that 1 lakh 20,000. So surplus will take only 15,000. Surplus we will take only 15,000. Did everyone understand this? Then building. No items to be taken from asset side because in second adjustment it's already given all assets have realized total amount of 4,20,000. Did everyone understand? Only cash and bank balance 50,000 will take separately. All other assets are realized for 4,20,000. Any confusions with the markings? Everyone is clear with this? So make the formats. One full page will be required. It's a long question. Make the formats, everyone. And how will we start? Yes, what amount? Where are you looking at? Asset side bank balance 50,000. You start with bank balance of 50,000. Then Netra, assets realized. But will show it separately. By liquidator will show 3 lakhs and surplus from secured creditors 15,000 will show separately. Out of 4,20,000, 1,20,000 is of freehold property. So by the liquidator, what is realized is 3 lakhs, and surplus from secured creditors is 1,20,000 minus we have to pay including interest 1,05,000. So surplus from secured creditors is 15,000. Is everyone clear with this? So 3,65,000 cash available. 3,65,000. Okay. Now payment side. First priority, legal charges we don't have. Then liquidators remuneration. Now that you can see is 2% on assets realized. So we'll take 2% of what amount? Is there any confusion now? Ready? Ask me what is the doubt? Debentures, 10% debentures 1 lakh and outstanding interest 5,000. So total amount we have to pay to debenture holders is 1,05,000. Okay. Now 2% on assets realized will calculate 2% of what amount? 3,15,000. Okay, 3,15,000 into 2%. How much? 6,300. We'll keep it in inner column only. And what else? 2% of unsecured creditors means let us write separately. Last time we added it. 2% will take off preferential creditors also, but we'll keep it pending. And 2% will take off unsecured creditors also, and we'll keep it pending. After payment is done to these two, then only you will get the remuneration. Okay. So presently we have to minus liquidators remuneration of only 6,300 means 3,58,700 is still the cash remaining. Okay, any doubts with this? Now after liquidators remuneration, Nisha, liquidation expenses what amount? 1,500, and here also will minus liquidation expenses 1,500, so 3,57,200 still left out. Then after liquidation expenses, preferential creditors. One thing is sure, different face value of shares are given means payment will go up till last. It will not be over by unsecured creditors, it will go up till last. Okay. Preferential creditors. Now, 4 things are included: provident fund 10,000, adjustment by rates 10,000, income tax 8,000, and workmen compensation 15,000. So 43,000. Here we minus preferential creditors 43,000. Still we are left out with 3,14,200. Any doubts on this? All are clear up till here? Then the page next after preferential creditors. Pratna, unsecured creditors, wrong. Emma? Yes. Now liquidators remuneration should be given 2%. Okay, we have paid to preferential creditors, so liquidator will get 2% remuneration on that. 2% of unsecured creditors means we have given preferential creditors also. What is 43,000's 2%? 860. Is everyone clear with this? Without fail, you should remember the remuneration should be given immediately as soon as you make the payment. So now you will again subtract liquidators remuneration of 860. Still left out with 313,340. Okay. Now do we have creditors having floating charge? No. Here debentures were not included in floating charge. They were included in secured creditors. We don't have creditors having floating charge. So now unsecured creditors. And how much we have to pay to unsecured creditors? No, unsecured creditors 57,000. How much are list fee? Unsecured. List fee in liability side, we have done the markings out of 90,000 or not? How much are unsecured? 57,000. Anything else included in unsecured list fee? So 57,000. Do we have sufficient amount or not? So now we'll pay to unsecured creditors 57,000. Any doubts on this? Sunita? No, 10,000 is separately provided now. 33,000 is only included in that 90. Adjustment by creditors include only 33,000 as we have done the bifurcation. And 10,000 of provident fund is already separate on the liability side. Are you all clear with this? So unsecured creditors will minus 57,000, 2,56,340. Still left out. Shower next. 2% liquidators remuneration as soon as we have made the payment. So 57,000's 2%, 1140. 8,300 in the outer column. Here again will minus liquidators remuneration of 1140, remaining 255,200. Is everyone clear with this? Next means return to, what do we write? Return to contributories. In that first, preference shareholders. Yes, Jay?
1 lakh.
Preference share capital is 1 lakh. Do we have 1 lakh? We have more than 1 lakh left out. So rupees 10 per share on 10,000 preference shares. 1 lakh. So here will minus preference share capital of 1 lakh. Still we are left out with 155,200 for the, yes, preference dividend will be 12,000 minus preference dividend. Okay, here we'll make a payment. Preference dividend 2 years, 1 lakh into 6% into 2 years, 12,000. Here minus preference dividend 12,000. So surplus or deficit? Surplus of 1,43,200. Right, everyone? Now equity shareholders done, but we have different face values. First we'll apply that formula. Has everyone completed up till here? Any confusions with this? Now second working, percentage loss per share is equal to paid up capital minus surplus upon nominal value of shares multiplied by 100. Okay, now listen everyone. Paid up capital. See in the liability side, directly what you get is the paid up capital. 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs plus 3 lakhs plus 60,000. Any doubts with this? Directly what is there on the liability side is the paid up capital. Minus there is a surplus of 1,43,200. Raise your hand who did not understand any figure up till here. All are clear with this? Okay? 4 lakh, 3 lakh, 60,000. Now nominal value see here, liability side. First one is 40,000 into 10. 4 lakhs. Second one is 30,000 into 10. 3 lakhs. But third one is 20,000 into 5. 20,000 into 5. The nominal value is 1 lakh. Paid up is 60,000. 3 rupees. But nominal value is 20,000 into 5. 1 lakhs. Did you understand this everyone? Okay, this 1 lakh is 20,000 into, all up with this 4 lakh, 3 lakh and 1 lakh into 100. So 4 lakhs, 7 lakhs, 60 minus 143, 200, 6 lakhs, 16,800 upon 43718 into 100, 77.1% exact. 7.1% is the loss per share. All are clear with this? Now, listen everyone. This percentage we have to multiply with respective face value and get actual loss. Then we have to compare with paid up value. In earlier questions, directly we got actual loss per share. Like first share, what is the face value? First share, what is the face value? 10. 10's 77.1%. 7.71 is the loss. What are they paid up? 10 rupees. So, do we have to call or refund?
Refund.
We have to refund. 7.71 means we have to refund 2.29 rupees. 7.71 minus 10 or 10 minus 7.71. What do we have to refund them? 2.29 rupees into 40,000 shares. Same way, second share is also exactly same. What is their face value? 10. So 10 is 77.1%. What is the loss? 7.71. And against that they have paid 10 rupees, so we will refund 2.29. Third shares, what is the face value? 5 into 77.1%. 3.8? 5. And against 3.855 they have paid up 3 rupees. So less. We have to call 0.855 paise on 20,000 shares. Did everyone understand this? So first two we have to refund. First share we have to refund 10 minus 7.71. How is this 7.71 obtained? Did you understand this? Face value 10 into 77.1%. Okay? Multiplied by 40,000 shares. Means we have to refund 2.29 into 40,000, 91,600. Second category also exactly same. We have to refund 10 minus 7.71 into 30,000 shares. What is 2.29 into 30,000? 68,700. But third category of shares we have to call. 7. No. What is 5 into 77.1%? 3.85. Okay, 5 into 77.1%, 3.85 minus 3.855 minus 3 into 20,000. What is 20,000 into 0.855? 17,100. This is what we will call from there. What is that? First we will call or refund? Call. First we will call 17,100. Then we will refund to type 1 and type. What is that? You can cross check. How much cash do we already have? Do 143,200 plus 17,100. We'll call. 1,60,300 is what we will have. And what are we paying? Do it 91,600 plus 68,700. 160,300. That is what we will pay to. Did everyone understand this? So, first receipt side will make the call. Calls from contributories in that rupees 0.855 per share on 20,000 shares. So we have to call 17,100. Any confusions in this? This last one, okay, type 3. And we have to refund this too. So equity shareholders rupees 2.29 per share on. We can directly combine the two because both are 2.29. So on 70,000 shares, on 70,000 equity shares, total comes to 3 lakh 82,100. Same both the sides. So everyone has understood this? Any doubts on it? Yes, Priyanka. Outstanding interest on debentures just now we added, but that was secured creditors. If it is a floating charge, then how do we pay for this? Put a pin down, understand it first. Outstanding interest on debentures. See, 3 dates are important. One is the date of last payment of interest. Date of last payment of interest. Second is date of liquidation, which would generally be the date of balance sheet. Okay, and the last is final date of payment. Final date of payment means, suppose the company goes into liquidation on 1st April. That doesn't mean that company will be able to pay all the money on 1st April. 1st April company goes into liquidation. Then they'll start selling the assets. May, June, July they sell the assets. Then they start making the payments. So in May, if they sell the assets, they first pay to secured creditors. Then they sell the assets, they pay liquidators remuneration. Then they sell the assets, they pay preferential creditors. So when the turn of debenture holders comes, floating charge, maybe they make the payment in the month of September. Okay, the turn of debenture holders comes in the month of September. So suppose the last date of payment of interest was done on 31st December. Company lastly paid the interest to the debenture holders on 31st December. And company goes into liquidation on 1st of April. Whatever is this period's interest, January, February, March, that company has to pay along with creditors having floating charge, list D. Okay, they have to pay along with creditors having at the same point of time. Okay, and 1st April onwards, when did the final payment was done to debenture holders? September. So April, May, June, July, August, 5 more months interest. Logically, practically we should pay them because we are paying them the money on 1st September. But this 5 months outstanding interest will pay along with unsecured creditors. Means that interest will be treated unsecured. After paying to everyone, if the company is still solvent, insolvent company cannot pay that extra interest. Because company already announced the liquidation on 1st April. So legally they are liable to pay interest only up till 1st of April. But after paying, not along with rather, after. If they are able to pay unsecured creditors also completely, that means the company is solvent. All the liabilities are paid off. So solvent company can pay this extra interest also. So like in the current question, we had outstanding interest present in balance sheet. So that amount which was in balance sheet is before the date of liquidation. Yes. If it was having floating charge, then that interest we would have paid along with floating charge. But if any extra payment is done, then that we have to do only if the company is solvent. Company is solvent means we would pay it only after paying unsecured creditors. Is everyone up to clear with this? So that we will see in the question henceforth. That whatever the outstanding interest is there, we divide it in two categories. Outstanding interest up till the date of liquidation will pay along with debenture holders itself. And after the date of liquidation, any outstanding interest will pay after paying unsecured creditors. Any confusion on this? Right on. Put off the camera.